everybody, and welcome to the Endless Summit podcast. So, this morning, I just wanted to jump on here real quick. We won't be having a full episode this week. It's just going to be a short, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. So, that way you stay in the loop with us. It's about coaching, it's about what we have going on in our lives. And so, this morning or this past week, I've been a little burnt out. And Shane's out of town in France, living his best life. So happy for him. But I've been struggling a little bit. I think just like burnout. Doing a lot. I've talked about this a little while ago, and I I'm feeling better, getting better sleep and all that kind of stuff. But still, still sitting there. Still have some stuff to work through, and just trying to let my body relax a little bit. But I didn't just want to leave you guys high and dry, and that's not fair to Shane either, as we both do this. So we're just gonna make a little clip this morning for you guys, so you guys have something. But today, let's talk a little bit about it. So when you're feeling burnt out, sometimes you have to take a step back and just look at everything you got. And it's like, where can I gain an extra hour? Where can I gain 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's really important that you take the time and get those moments. That way you can rejuvenate, you can recharge. And I found since I've done that, like I feel better about going to the gym. I've limited my time in the gym, so I'm not there 5, 6 days a week now. Now it's like 3 to 4 with how busy my schedule is until probably basketball season's over. And then we'll try to hit it really hard again, even though we'll be jumping right into football, but that should give me plenty of time to rest. But sometimes you just have to know when you have to take a step back, and it's okay to take a step back. It's not anything negative or bad. Like um, a buddy from the gym told me yesterday, he was like, you have to know when to stop, or your body's gonna tell you when to stop. And I let my body tell me when I was gonna stop. And so now I have to be more attentive and more aware of what is going on and what I'm putting myself through. That way we're not running ourselves into the ground again. So right now, I'm prioritizing sleep. I changed my sleep routine to try to help me get more sleep, feel more recharged that way. During the week, I am taking more time for myself, not just with sleep, but like actually just having a moment to like breathe. So like when I get off work before I go to the gym, like I take a half an hour, no matter what, to just breathe, to wind down from the day and just gather myself. And I feel like that's actually been a really good tool for me. Um, so that's good as well. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is effort. So effort is just its prime. Some people have all the talent in the world, and this could be for your job. This could be for your hobbies. It could be for your sports. It could be for anything. But how we approach a situation is more important than the natural skills that were just given to us. When we approach that with a different mindset, with a mindset that like, I've done everything I can do, and I still feel like I'm being lazy or I'm not doing enough. That's a good place to be in, because that's always going to drive you to do more and be better. I was watching these clips with my daughter last night, and there were a couple of clips about Kobe, there was a couple of clips about LeBron, there was a couple of clips about Jordan, and it just talked about mentality, effort, and what these people do to stay on top of their game. And I know those are sports related, and not all of us are into sports, but you can translate these into your personal life. So, like, one that really stuck out to me and one that my daughter really liked was um, Kobe just talking about how he would go into the gym at, I don't know, let's say 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Then he would go take a rest, eat, everything like that. And then he's back in the gym from like 6 o'clock to like 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock. And then he goes to bed. And he's like, that's only two training sessions a day. But then he was like, I started getting up at 4. So now I'm in the gym from 6 to 8 o'clock. And then I can go home and I can take a break. I can eat, I can recharge. And now I'm back in the gym from like 11 to 1. Then I go again, eat, recharge, take a break. Then I'm in there from like, I think it was like 3 to 5. And then he was like, and then I go home, take another break, eat, and now I go to the gym 7 to 9. He was like, just by waking up a little bit earlier, I now got 4 training sessions in a day. And if you add that up over a year, how much better did I get by doing that? Like what, 8%, 10%, 18%, 35%? Like you're making strides at that point. And I thought that was really cool because I could relate to that with my effort, with how much my schedule is. It was like, all right, well, if I get up a little bit earlier, go to work a little bit earlier, now I'm able to achieve more in my day. And I think a lot of us can do that. It's hard. It can be really hard. Sometimes you don't want to wake up in the morning. Sometimes you're just like, nah, I'm good. Like, I want to sleep for that extra hour or that extra 2 hours. But at the same time, even if you don't have the opportunity to start work earlier, like, what if you could get up? You could create a morning routine, whether you shower in the morning or whatever it may be, and you could take time to sit down and eat breakfast. You could take time to look at your day and how it's planned out. You could take that time to prepare for your day, prepare for work. So when you walk into your work or go into your office at home or whatever you're doing, you're mentally prepared for that day. And just by waking up a couple hours earlier, you feel more ready for the day than you do when you wake up and then you're just like, oh, I just got to get dressed and rush out of the house so I can get to work on time. Because then you're feeling rushed and it just starts the day in a way that you don't want to start it. So I think like today's biggest thing is effort and just knowing when to take that pause. Me and Shane have talked about pauses before. And I know some of this may be repetitive, but I'm going through this and talking with you guys through this as we go through life too, as how you approach it from a coaching standpoint and what we do for ourselves. Because in this podcast, me and Shane want to help you as much as we can, giving you tips, tricks, tools, all that kind of stuff. But also, we want it to be relatable. We want you guys to listen and watch this and see what we're going through and how can, for those of you that are listening, like, how can I relate to this person? They don't really know what I'm going through. They haven't been in this situation. And maybe when you hear what we're going through, that's like, oh, they do know. Maybe I should try this, or maybe this does work, or maybe I like their idea, but I got to tweak it a little bit. And that's okay. Not everybody's the same. But, I feel like effort and pauses go hand in hand because you have to have, you have to be able to see it in yourself and know like this is the moment that I need to take a pause, and that takes effort sometimes, just like it takes effort to continue moving forward every single day and trying to get 1% better every single day. But sometimes your mind needs a break. Sometimes it's just like, yo, hold up, you're doing too much. Let me have a break, please. Eh, You got to put the effort in to give yourself that break. Because, like, for me, it was a lot of effort to put in that time to take a break and be like, yo, you have to take a step back if you want to continue moving forward. And so, just looking in to these clips, I watched some coaches talk about just effort on the basketball court, or one of the coolest things was Tom Brady, and he was just talking about what it took in changing your mentality of like, this isn't just another day, this isn't just another training session. Like, this is my time. And if I'm going to make the most out of my time, how much effort am I going to put in? Am I going to go in? Am I just going to go through the movements, or am I going to go in and it's like, nah, today I'm going to crush it? And if I make a mistake, that's okay, but I crushed it today. And now I know what not to do the next time to crush it. So I'm just hearing about like his effort through his career was really cool. Uh, So I'm trying to think of where to go to next on this, but effort beats out talent every time. Um, so if you're in your everyday work life and you're like, man, how do I get better at my job? How do I get better at being a dad? How do I get better at being a husband or a wife? It's about effort. What are you doing, willing to do to get better? Uh, Just to give us some perspective, for me as a husband, I had to start going to therapy. There was a lot of stuff that I had to work through from my past to be a better husband, and my wife deserved me going through that. And I also had the drive in myself to want to be a better husband. So I do therapy. I still do therapy. You guys know this. And one of the biggest things that has helped me continue that is my effort in communication. Sometimes you feel like, "Oh, I don't want to bring this up. I don't want to fight." But how you bring it up will determine whether you get into a fight or not. And so making sure you have that effort, just letting them know, like, hey, I'm trying. I may not say this in the right words, but I'm trying. I just want you to know where I stand. I found that that has been one of the biggest helpers for me as being a better husband. In my workplace, it was getting up earlier, getting here earlier, and striving for more. I go down and I go through my materials to try to know what materials we have sooner. When your workplace works with thousands upon thousands of different parts, you're not just going to learn those overnight. You're not just going to learn those in a year. Sometimes it takes going down there and just looking through them over and over and over and over. And are you willing to consistently put in that effort to do that? And it's like I am. My family relies on me bringing home a paycheck, and I got to make sure I'm doing the best that I can when I'm here to continue to have that paycheck. And like another way is, I work for a pro AV company, and it's like I don't have to program. We have programmers, we have engineers, but it's like, hey, what can I do to learn this? Just so when they're talking to me about it, I'm more knowledgeable about it. And so, like right now, I'm starting off at one of the beginning uh, trainings for programming, and it is crazy. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go through it a couple of times, but again, that comes down to effort. How bad do you want it? How much do you want to get better? And so we're just gonna keep it pushing with that, because then we can go on to the next one, become even more knowledgeable, and then you know let's put it in as a parent, right? Like, what can we do to be better parents? How do we consistently put in that effort for being a parent? And honestly, I feel like they should have a handbook or freaking college prep book on being a parent. You're going to learn a lot of it through experience. You learn probably 99% of it from experience. But I'll tell you what, one thing is the kids' schedule. Their their schedules are next level. So the amount of effort that you have to put in to like keeping your mind right, keeping your body right to be able to keep up with their schedule is just nuts. And so like it's like what books can I read? You know? What can I view? What can I watch? Watch other people. They do something, you're like, nah, I don't like that. That's not a good way. Okay, don't do that. But that parent over there, you saw that they have a calendar in their phone with everything on it, and they have it color coded to prioritize what's most important, what's not most important. And they are on top of everything as a parent. Their kids are always on time. They have everything they're supposed to have. Like that's that's the parent that I'm gonna mirror. I'm gonna be like, all right, how'd you get to this? What did you do? Because I need a little bit of help, you know? Um, and that's sort of what I've just done to get to the point that I'm at in parenting or in my job um, or as a spouse. And like for my business or for this podcast, there was a lot of nerves, and it was just like, all right, I might not be the best podcaster, but guess what? Like I'm gonna put in the effort. I'm gonna see what I could do. I'm gonna look up notes. I'm gonna use the tools around me, and I'm just gonna continue putting in that effort. Um, And so far, like, sometimes I have my doubts, like, man, did I have a good episode? But at the same time, it's like I'm doing the best that I can. And I'm only going to get better as long as I'm pushing myself to be better every single week and be more knowledgeable every single week. And as a business owner, it's just like there's always something new to learn, especially when you build it from scratch. And you don't have a degree in business management or any any background in it, but you can learn. You know, there's tools out there, and it's about how much effort you're going to put into those tools. I can tell you, I spend countless amounts of hours just talking to Chat GPT. Like, I'll ask it, like, all right, what would you do in this case? All right, this is what I'm doing. Is this the right way, or should I change this up? What other options do I have? You know, it's not just the first thing that they bring up to you. It's like, well, what else is there? How else could this be approached? It's just like one thing, I want a facility, right? And so I'm like, all right, create me this facility. It creates it for me. And I'm like, oh, wait, like this is just telling me how much money it needs to fund the business and the facility. Well, what do I need to be paid on top of that so that I make something from this? And then it breaks it down and it's like, well, what about X? And then what about Y? And, you know, it's just, I couldn't tell you how many times I look on YouTube or I look into chat or I seek out other people's knowledge at the gym or somewhere. And I'm like, well, why do you train this way? What's a good program for this specific thing that I want? And so as long as you keep putting in that effort, and it doesn't have to be like I have to sit down this for an hour. It can be like, oh, I don't have anything to do right now. I'm going to look this up. I'm just going to talk to Chad. I'm just going to watch this YouTube video. And doing that, you know, a couple of times a day, and then a couple of times a day, like your growth is going to happen. And it's going to continue to happen as long as you do it. So I think for some Endless Summit podcast, that's it today. I appreciate you guys coming through and listening to me rant a little bit and then talk about some effort, because that was just a big thing that came up for me this past week. Was I I for some reason was drawn to looking into effort and navigating effort and looking at different approaches of it. So, you know, if I give you a thought of the week, it's like, look at your effort. Is there anything that you can do to make you 1% better? Continue making you 1% better every day. Is there one thing that you can change? Is it getting up an hour earlier? Is it taking three 20-minute breaks a day and just researching the things that you're trying to get better at. If you can do those, do them. And let's see where it takes you. Because I believe in you and you should believe in yourself. And I think you guys can rock it. So that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to continue pushing with this effort and see what else I can do and see where maybe I'm lacking or maybe where I want to get better. So let's do it together and we'll recap next week. All right, you guys. Well, you all have a great rest of your week and we will talk to you next week. All right, peace.